We've all felt the effects of stress and a lack of sleep on our leadership skills. And great becomes good, good shifts to bad, and bad becomes worse. And so we are not machines and we need to take care of ourselves. However, one aspect of our well being you may not have thought about affects you as much as stress or sleep is the things you eat. And yes, that donut and foo caramelized caramel coffee drink you've had in the morning that makes your morning great may just be your biggest mistake in your leadership journey for the day. What you eat has a profound impact not just on your body, but also on your mental health and your leadership. And so today, I'm excited to have with me Jayne Reynolds, who is a certified 8-man clinic mental health nutritionist. It's a big, to
Yes,
talk
it
about
is.
the profound impact of nutrition on your leadership and what you can do about it. So, Jayne, thank you so much for coming on board and talking to us about nutrition.
You're so very welcome. I'm excited to be here and talk about all of this.
Yeah. So I like to challenge my listeners. What is one way that you have found that we could honor God in our business that other people may not know about?
For me, it's stewardship of my health. And I think that's probably one of the key things. I mean, it's pretty trite because that's what we're here to talk about, right? But as I've looked around and observed leadership and leaders around me, it's quite easy to see those who are taking care of themselves, those who are not. And when we are stepping into ministry in our work, because our workplace often is more of a ministry than even a church setting might be, we have a profound responsibility in our faith. You know, this is the temple of the Holy Spirit to show up taking care of that in order to be in the best position possible to serve in the way that we've been called to. I have been challenged on that. I've had people say, well, I'm chronically ill and my biggest ministry is prayer. And so, I do what I can do. And I'm not specifically speaking to those people. I am talking to the people that you talked about just as we were getting the intro started there, who are making poor choices and then allowing that to impact the way they're showing up to lead, because we've got this profound responsibility, I think, as leaders, as Christian leaders, to not only just show up with good leadership skills, but also good faith skills that point other people to Jesus. And when we're cranky and irritable, it's really hard. It
Oh,
starts
yeah.
producing comments like, I like your Jesus but not, I like your Christ but not your Christians. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, to just steward our bodies the way we've been called to.
Okay. And I think that's hard because we just grow up eating whatever.
Hmm.
And I know I'm jumping ahead, but like, especially as kids, your body is so resilient. You can eat whatever and it doesn't seem to
Hmm.
affect you. But as you age, you get 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, what you eat starts to affect you. You can see the effects more because your body's not healing as
Hmm.
quick as well.
Yes.
But yeah, very good. So give us a brief overview, your journey. How did you get to be a nutritional health coach? And why did you go down that route?
Yeah, I was very, very sick. And I think that a lot of us, for a lot of us, our journeys into our sort of missional calling comes out of the hardship that we've been through. And I don't think I'm any different than anyone else who's
Yep.
been through that. I struggled with severe anxiety and depression, and that was triggered by a health event that I had when my first daughter was born. I had an E. coli
Mm,
infection. I was in the hospital. They gave me 3 bags of antibiotics over the course, 7 bags of antibiotics over the course of 3 days, decimated my gut
wow.
bacteria. Had no idea back then about reseeding and the
Yep.
role that your gut bacteria plays in your mental health, and started this slow demise into this path of chronic
Mm,
anxiety and depression that lasted for 7 years. So I made lots of changes. I tried to do talk therapy. I tried to do medication. They didn't fix it. The thing that fixed it was changing my diet. And
mm,
so I started thinking about what I'd been through and what I was being called to do and how I could help other people with this knowledge and information, because not many people know how to do this. So I went back to school, got board certified in holistic nutrition. I went through the Academy for Addiction and Mental Health Nutrition, and then became an Amen Clinics certified brain health professional last year. So yeah, and now I get to just talk to people about how the things that they put in their body affect their mental health, their well-being, and how they show up.
hmm. That's good. And I've seen that many times, and
Hmm.
that because that's your experience.
Yes.
And or people have a need and they fix it for themselves and they're like, oh, you like it too? And they start
Hmm.
handing it out to other people. It's essentially what you've done.
Yes.
Very good. So a mental health nutritionist, the name probably does it, but describe it. What do you do as a mental health nutritionist?
Yeah, I'm helping people who come into my office to figure out the root cause of why their brains are functioning the way that they are. I am one piece of a puzzle. We are working together as a team in the mental health community to help you figure those things out. So you might need a brain scan at Amen clinics to figure out, where the blood flow is in the brain, or you might want to do neurofeedback. But the thing that I work on with my folks is figuring out if there are any nutritional deficiencies that are, or allergies that are causing problems inside the body that might be affecting the way the brain's functioning. So, gut health is major. If your gut is not functioning properly, then your brain won't be either. But that's the
Mm,
same for thyroid health or blood sugar regulation. And so, we can look at these different things through laboratory work and symptomatic checkers and assessment tools. And then we can create a custom plan for the person in my office to figure out what
okay.
foods support them. And I do that not only from a conventional medicine side of things. I've studied that obviously through Amen Clinics and the Academy, but also from a traditional Chinese medicine. So we're looking at this from more of a holistic perspective. What are the nutrients I can put in? And the nutrients might be like the air that I breathe, or the love that I'm surrounded by, or
Mm,
the community that I'm involved in. So these are all things that help to nourish our bodies. But it might literally be a zinc deficiency or a vitamin B6 deficiency, or you might be allergic to gluten, and it might be impacting the way that your body's functioning. So we take a good look at all of that and then create a customized plan for you nutritionally to support your body.
hmm. It sounds easy, but it probably isn't easy. It probably is not, oh, I'm going to come in, ask me 20 questions, and oh, here's your plan. It's
Yeah.
probably not that easy, is it?
Uh, in the first month, we spend the first month is my fact finding month with my client.
Okay.
So we do a delayed food sensitivity test. We do organic acid testing, which is a pee in a cup. One's a blood spot test, one's pee in a cup. It takes a while. Like we order that from the lab, it gets shipped to your house, and then we have to fill it all out and send it all back. So we're waiting. That takes about a month. In the meantime,
Mhm.
we're filling out those assessments. That nutritional assessment questionnaire, we're asking about 350 questions. And then we have an amino one that is looking at the neurotransmitter balance inside the body. And there's probably another good 20 questions on there. And then I have a pyroluria questionnaire. So, yeah, there's an awful lot that we're
That's a
pulling
lot of
together.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then we get you to get your regular labs done too. Like one of the things that I talk about often is that we don't have a baseline. We have no idea whether our thyroid function is normal today compared to how it was 6 months ago
Okay.
or a year
Yep.
ago or 5 years ago. So if you get your annual labs done, then we can look at that through a functional health report. Then I'm pulling all that information together through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine to figure out how to best support you. So yeah, it sounds easy, but it's complex in the pulling together, but we try
Yep.
and put it together in a way that you can easily do it step by step in order to improve your health and well-being.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why we work with people like you, that you've done
Right.
it for a while. That very good, very good. So I usually don't think about foods as affecting my mood very much. Can you give us a simple reason why your foods affect, or give us an example of that?
Yeah, let's just start with gluten sensitivity. We know we've got clinical studies showing that gluten sensitivity can cause symptoms everywhere from bipolar type symptoms to schizophrenic type symptoms, anxiety disorders, depressive disorders. So, when we take gluten out of the diet, we can sometimes resolve things like underlying anxiety or depression just simply by removing that one food group. So it
Really?
doesn't, it sounds
Interesting.
like, it's just very like a very quick and simple thing, but this was the thing that was so cataclysmically changing for me. I ate a normal diet. My grandfather, his brother are both celiac. My mom has gluten sensitivity. I didn't even think about having gluten sensitivity. So there's some history there, right, in the family.
Yep.
um, but a chiropractor suggested I take it out for my gut health. It had nothing to do with my brain. I was just having gut issues. And it took me 2 weeks to decide to do it because it's very complicated. There's just a lot.
Yep.
It's in everything.
It
So
is.
I took it out, and 1 week later, the anxiety attacks that I had had sometimes 3 and 4 times a day for an hour at a time were completely gone.
Wow.
Right. So it can be that dramatic when we start looking at it. And if you've got kids struggling with ADHD, or, and we're talking about food dyes or food intolerances or sugar load or any of those, I think we can start cleaning the diet up to make massive changes to how the brain is functioning.
But a lot of that stuff, is it trial and error then?
No, we don't have to do. There is a way of doing they call it an elimination journey, right? An
Yeah.
elimination test. So you take the food out, which is how I started. Okay, gluten might be a problem. So I'm going to take it out. The proteins that cause the health issues for you are very, very long. I choked there like Charmin Ultra. Very, very long and very, very strong. And they're very hard to break down inside the body. So it takes the body about 28 days to break them
Hmm.
down. So
Wow.
when you take those food out, you have to give your body enough time to break down those immune responses inside the body in order for you to notice the differences. And for some people, for myself, it was a week, but you might need to take, 2 to 3 to 4 weeks to have that out of your diet completely. And then you can reintroduce it. So you give yourself a couple of days of eating it again, pay attention to what symptoms come back. Do I hurt more? Is my gut more upset? Is my mood tanked? Is my anxiety elevated? So you're watching that. So we can do it by an elimination diet. But what happens if you've got gluten and you've taken that out, but you're also sensitive to dairy and you haven't taken that out? And you're still experiencing
Yep.
symptoms, right? So this is why we test. And we do a dry blood spot test. So you poke your finger, you fill up the card, we send it off to the lab, and they tell us on a scale what your sensitivity is to those foods. And they test
Okay.
192 foods.
Okay.
So can you imagine how long it would take you to take all those foods out and put them back in
Yes.
again? Right. Yes. I think I did
A
the math
lot of
once. I think
months.
it's like 14 years. So we can get those answers a lot quicker,
Yeah.
like 2 weeks, right? If we do the
They just
testing.
fast for a month and then just start eating one thing. But yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
there are some
probably
programs like that, like the GAPS diet
okay.
will take everything out and start with chicken broth and just one food at a time they will reintroduce. It's a long, hard, arduous process if we can get some testing done and get you some answers.
Yep. I would think I would go with the test route. I know
Yeah.
when one of my sons, my middle son, when he was born, he had some allergic reactions to things, and my wife was nursing and didn't know what it was. And
Mhm.
so of course what's the normal thing? She eliminated a bunch of stuff. And then it wasn't until he started eating cereal that we gave him a little bit of rice cereal, and he projectile vomited the cereal. It was like, oh, you're probably allergic to rice. And that's all my wife has been eating is chicken and rice.
Mhm.
So took that out and things got better. But it's just like, yeah, that elimination stuff can be quite tricky that way.
It can, and
Um,
I had a similar experience, right? I've got kids now with food sensitivities, probably just handed down the genetic gene pool, right?
sure.
And my middle child was exceedingly fussy and colicky. And
Mm.
I remember some grandma somewhere being, "Oh, you don't know what colic is. You've never
Yeah.
experienced colic." I'm like, "This kid never sleeps." She was red in the face. She constantly had her knees drawn up to her belly. We had her
Mm.
in the doctor's office. We had her at the chiropractor's. We were like, what do we do with this kid? I have no idea. And similar thing, we were transitioning to food. I gave her scrambled eggs and she went into anaphylactic shock. And all I
Wow.
had been eating, because I was nursing twins, I was eating eggs like they were going out of fashion, trying to keep my
Yeah.
protein levels up and all the good,
Mm.
healthy fats and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And every time I breastfed her, I was making her ill. So, yes, those proteins pass through the breast milk, and we can definitely influence the health and well being of our babies. So, if you've got an extremely colicky kid or some, kid that's really miserable, and you're breastfeeding, and even bottle feeding too, because of the soy in the formula or whatever, it could really be aggravating their systems.
Yeah. That's good. And we didn't think about it until we experienced it, like you
No, we
said.
didn't either.
So
Yeah.
so how does that food then affect our leadership at work? Does it really help change being nice versus being not nice?
Yeah, so
People?
I think one of the best stories I can tell you is Dan. He came into my office because he'd been struggling with blood sugar regulation. He had pain issues. He was definitely diagnosed as diabetic, so he was on insulin, and he was struggling with IBS. So he didn't come to me because he had mood issues. He came to me for those things, to fix those things.
Hmm.
So we did the testing, like I just talked about, and we created a customized plan, and I gave it to him. I love working with guys because they're like, give me a plan and a checklist and I'll follow
Yep.
everything you've
Just
asked me to
just go
do.
do it.
Yeah, women are like all tied up with their emotions in it. So we give him the plan. He starts checking things off and following the guidelines that I've given him. And 2 weeks later, he's back in my office. He's grinning from ear to ear. And he said,
Mm.
he's already down like 5 pounds. He was actively reducing his insulin because he didn't need it anymore. And he said, I don't understand why I'm happy. I
Hmm.
haven't been happy. In fact, I've been bordering on being angry and agitated and frustrated all the time. And that behavior is showing out, playing itself out in my employees, right? My employees know that I'm angry and cranky and difficult to work with. But in the last couple of weeks, that's cleared up and gone away. And I was going to go and see somebody for mental health because it was so bad. I didn't know what else to do, but it's gone away. Why has it gone away? And I said, because your blood sugar is now regulated. You've taken out all those inflammatory foods. And so your pain levels are down, your emotions are on a more even keel, and you've got more happiness and more joy. And he said, well, why doesn't my endocrinologist talk to me about this when I go into their office? And I said, because they just don't know. Like these doctors, they get 2 weeks of nutrition education in school, and they are given a standard of care to follow. And if you don't fit into the standard of care, then they can't help you and they don't know what to do with you. So we just made these massive changes, and then it applied. Like his employees are coming to him saying, oh my goodness, you've changed so much. Like, what have you done? Why are you so happy? And that is not the only story that I have had where that has happened. I've had at least two other leaders who have come to me and said, my mood's changed so much that my employees have noticed and they want to know what I'm
Mm.
doing.
That's very interesting because, and I remember Daniel Amen saying, "Whatever's good for your brain is good for the rest of your body too."
Yes, it is.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
good. So, what are some simple steps we can take today if we can't come see you right now? Is there
right.
things that we can do today to get going the right track?
Yeah, the first thing that I tell everyone who comes into my office is kind of twofold. It's eat protein consistently throughout the day. So we want to get where I people look at me. My favorite meal of the day is breakfast. My breakfast this morning was leeks, sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and I did have sausage this morning instead of chicken because I'd run out of chicken, and half an apple, right? So I am starting my day with that meat-based protein. We can have a conversation on another day if you want to about the difference between vegetarian and meat-based proteins. But
Sure.
meat-based proteins are um, they've got a complete protein inside of them, and so we're starting to build our neurotransmitters right out of the gate. We're also avoiding all of those blood sugar highs and blood sugar lows. The drop off can cause symptoms of anxiety. The panic attack and low blood sugar are exactly the same. So if you
Mm.
eat protein consistently throughout the day, you avoid those spikes and drops, as long as you are also avoiding those high sugar foods that would drive the highs and lows. And when our blood sugar is dysregulated, we can really struggle with a lot of depression. I see a lot of correlation in my office between serotonin symptoms, which are OCD, panics and phobias, depression, seasonal affective disorder, lack of sleep or poor sleep. Those are all directly correlated with somebody who's got high blood sugar in my office. So we're
Hmm.
working to
Interesting.
bring that back into balance by eating protein consistently throughout the day, like every 3 hours, and then avoiding these foods. Like I challenge in my classes, I'm like, grab a phone, pull up your favorite treat. And I tell the story of my son in law, Kyle, who went to Dutch Brothers and got a shark attack drink. And he loves to torment me when he comes home, right? He's like, look what I got. Look what's in it. Do
Yeah.
you think this is good for, do you think I need like hydrocitric benzoate? I'm like, no, 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 no. Um,
No, you don't.
no, you don't. but his drink had 28 and a quarter teaspoons of sugar in it. It had like 130 grams of sugar in it, which is a cup.
Sure.
It's a cup of sugar. Like if
Oh
you
yeah.
grab your drink, and this much
Yeah.
of it is just sugar. And that is so detrimental. It is so inflammatory to the brain. You're setting yourself up for Alzheimer's, dementia, diabetes, which is we look around society today and we say, "Oh my, it's just diabetes. It's just diabetes." It is a major diagnosis that will leave you blind, amputated. Like there is so many um, negative things that happen when you have diabetes. You can avoid that now by starting to clean up your the way that you're eating.
Sure. And I've started that over 5 years ago, just trying to eliminate sugar as much as I can and really
Hmm.
super reduce it down to what it was a long time ago. I think in 1800s they said like it was like 10 or 11 pounds a year.
Hmm.
Like now it's like
Yeah.
150 pounds a year for the average person. But
Yes.
I've done the same thing. I've looked
Hmm.
at a bottle of pop. I don't drink pop,
Hmm.
but looking at just your 20 ounce or 16 ounce, it's like 56 56 grams of sugar. That's
Hmm.
like a quarter of a cup or more. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
And then we're so accustomed to having something sweet that we're looking for these replacements all the time. The latest one to hit the market was erythritol a few years ago, and that we know destroys the gut bacteria. We know it's behind. It was just connected with a bunch of heart attacks, and then they've just connected it with poor mental health. Like I'm going, please don't replace it out. Just do without. Like you don't once you start taking those foods out, if you give your body enough time to renew, your taste buds start to change. And you'll go back for that cheat day and you'll grab that thing and you won't be able to make your way through it because it just is so sweet. You can't stand it.
What about alternative sugars? Are they
Mm.
bad? I've heard that they don't do the same negative effects as like sucrose, like cane
Mm-hmm.
sugar or date sugar or whatever, all these different things. Do you know anything about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the only alternative sugars that we recommend in our office are stevia and pure monk fruit. So in our world, if you Pepsi Cola and Coca Cola both have a form of stevia or monk fruit. I think it's stevia, but they've mixed it in with other stuff like erythritol to make it
Mm,
more palatable or more one to one as you're baking with it. So watch what it is. It's like a drug addiction, right? Watch what it's cut with, right? You want to make sure that it's pure product. Yeah, stevia, monk fruit. Somebody the other day was like, I was horrified about stevia. And so I don't use it anymore. The thing that I know is that in the manufacturing process, sometimes these things can get really damaged, and then we don't end up with a product that we might have had 100 years ago when we were making stevia. So there is a brand I like to recommend. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. They're called Sweet Leaf Stevia. They're here in Gilbert, Arizona, and they cold press and extract. So there's no added alcohols or anything else in the process when they're making their product. So a lot of the time, I'm just talking to people about cleaning stuff up as much as they can. So I would
yep.
not. Um, some of these bigger brands that have products, I'm not sure about their methods. You can find out what their methods are for creating the product that they've got, but I tend to stick with the cleaner ones. And for myself, I don't like the taste of stevia or monk fruit. It still has that artificial sweetener taste to it. There's a bitterness to it that I just don't care for, so I don't use it. I just do without. And then the other ones can go from moderately not beneficial to downright dangerous. There are some that Dr. McCullough had written a report at one point about aspartame and the damage to the brain, the like literal holes that it causes in the brain. So, I care about your brain. I want to protect your brain. So let's not do things that muck your brain up. Let's do
Sure.
things that support your health. If you need to add a little sweetness to your oatmeal in the morning, then cut up a couple of dates and put them in and use that sweetness because you'll get all the fiber and all the
Hmm.
antioxidants and all the nutrients from those two dates that you would not get from cane sugar or from, an artificial sweetener.
Sure. Very good. All right. And so, common mistakes. What are common mistakes that people make that when they try to go down this health route but don't do it right?
I think one of the biggest things I see is we are incredibly easily influenced by our the trends, a TikTok trend or a Instagram fad, or I see a lot of people doing keto. I see a lot of people, there's a lot of studies on the Mediterranean diet, so that's the one you tend to hear people doing more of. But you'll hear like I went on an extreme juice cleanse, or I went on a lot
Yeah.
of times I don't know what it is about America. Having grown up in England, I don't see this so much, but they're like, if a little bit is good, then all of it must be better. They're like Peter, right? If you're
That's
gonna wash
right.
my
That's
feet,
right.
wash my whole body, right? So that's how kind of how it
Yes.
is here. We're like, if a little bit of soy is good in Japan, then it must be incredible for me to stick in absolutely everything that I make here, right? So or going to like big extremes. I'm going to become vegan. I have so many people who've come into my office as vegans who are struggling with terrible depression because they haven't got the building blocks that they need to in the proteins to make their neurotransmitters. So the big mistake I see, and this is where I'm going with all of this, is not eating for your bio individuality. So, what might work for you and what might work for me are two totally different things. There are some studies that show it could depend on your blood type as to what foods that you tolerate best. It depends on your food sensitivities. It depends on the quality of and amount of stomach acid you have. It depends on whether you have infectious processes going on inside your digestive tract. Like everything is unique to you. Your gallbladder might function. Do you know what really doesn't help a gallbladder dysfunction? It's a keto diet that's high in fat because you have
Mm,
no gallbladder function to process it. So figuring out what works for you is key. And our teacher talks to us about that all the time. When you see these fad diets that are coming, ask, does that work for my bio individuality? And I just had to have that conversation with a vegetarian who is vegetarian and struggling with pre-diabetes because there's genetic history. But when you get vegetarian proteins, they're so often surrounded in carbohydrates. Beans have a great deal of protein in them, but they also have tons of carbohydrates that come with them. So if your body doesn't cope with that for genetic reasons, that's not going to fit you, your bio individual needs.
yep. No, that makes sense. And I've heard that a
Mhm.
lot of times before. So how can my audience find out more about you, to work with you or whatever? Can we work with you from a distance? Tell us how.
Yes. I can do telehealth appointments, so you can work with me from a distance. I have a couple of different ways of working with me, from hourly appointments all the way up to a 4-month coaching program or a 12-week program that helps you with, it's specifically designed to help you with the brain function piece. I teach you everything that I know, and then we coach you through and figure out how it applies to you. Probably the best way to get hold of me is I have a bit.ly link, so bit.ly/meet Jayne, MEETJAYNE. And it will take you to my link tree and you can schedule an appointment. I do the first chat for free, just to see if you want to work with me, if we're a good fit to work together.
Okay, very good.
Yeah,
And we'll put all those things in the show notes so you don't have to remember it or
there we
replay
go.
this 10 times to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, so very good. So what is one thing we've talked about a lot of things, and I know you can talk a lot more. But what is one
Mhm.
thing you'd like to challenge my listeners today to take action on?
Take your health seriously. Whether that's mental health or physical health, you are working hard to build work that is pleasing and fitting for the kingdom of God. You want to have ministry and influence wherever you are. And it's easier to do that when you feel well. And a lot of that responsibility falls on us. When we are eating a cupcake and praying for Jesus to turn it into a carrot on the way down, that is bad theology, right? He started us out with
Yes.
these beautiful foods like fish and ancient wheat bread and vegetables and fruit. There was no Starbucks in Jerusalem. So just think about what it is that you're putting inside your body so that you can steward it and take care of yourself so that you can leave a legacy. It's hard to leave a legacy from the underside of the grass.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very good. I love it. Jayne, thank you so much for your time, your encouragement today. And next steps to put into practice what you've heard, check out the show notes, go down to the links and sites that Jayne talked about so you can get a hold of her, find out more, work with her. Improve your health. And go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and sign up for the newsletter because it's a great way to not miss out on future episodes. And friends, that's all for now. Trust you've been inspired to redeem your business, redeem your time, buy it back, and walk worthy of God's great name.